Your most important tool when it comes to milking your goats is a milking stanchion. It's also going to come in super handy when you are trimming hooves and doing any kind of medical care to get them in and locked down. It's for their safety and for yours. This is the headstock. We want this to be able to open and shut. And something I should say about this entire thing is this is a very easy DIY project. When it starts to break down and get really disgusting, it's a pallet and a couple bolts that you can actually reuse on the next one. So when this breaks, I just replace it with a new one. I cut a pallet in half, put a piece of plywood on top, and I can recycle the headstock for every single one that I use. The biggest thing that this offers us is that it gets the goat up off the ground. You know, when you're milking a cow, they're a little bit taller, so you can, as you're seated down there, you've got a little bit of space there. But a goat being so short, you want to be able to get them up a little bit more on your level. This is going to be especially true when you're doing hoof care or anything else. So starting at the top, we've got the headstock. The most important thing here is that the hole is big enough that they are still able to breathe very well, but it's small enough that they're not going to be able to get their head out of it. My favorite feature about this here is this spring-loaded latch, and that is literally just going to make it so that the goat can't lift up their head and lift the latch out of the little eye here, and that will just keep their head secure. There was also a little bit of thought that went into this here, that the relief for the neck puts their head in such a position that then when they put their head down into the food bucket, they are actually able to reach the food, and that is very important so that they're not straining against it. This height, basically you want it to end up wherever the shoulders of the goat will basically put them at, kind of just like a straight, comfortable standing position here. So if you have taller goats, you'll want to raise this up. If you have shorter goats, you can lower it a little bit. But because I have a bunch of different sized goats, I added this very fancy stool so that they can step up on that and get a little extra height, which also helps me as I'm milking because it aims their udder right at my milking bowl. So that was a happy accident. And then the mechanism that opens and shuts this is just simply a bolt that goes through both of these pieces of wood with a washer here, in between, and at the back. And that literally just gives it the ability to move even when that is tightened. Then the other thing too here is that this is cut away, and you can see why as I'm opening and shutting it. We just need a little bit of clearance right there so this can actually open and shut. As you can see, this is a very well used, well loved pallet. It works for what it needs to work for, and that's about the level of craftsmanship we're thinking here. Also, I made this platform a little bit bigger than the actual goat itself. And that's so that when I am trimming hooves or if I'm milking a naughtier goat, I have room to sit in the stanchion and get my arms around the goat, you know, maneuver around however I need to. An optional addition to is a milking stool. And you want to basically make the height of your stool wherever it's going to put you comfortably just under the udder of the goat so that you're not reaching up really high or having to, you know, do this at a very uncomfortable angle. You'll notice too, this is about the same height as a bucket. It's 18 inches for anyone that cares. I don't want to pull here because I don't want to restrict their breathing, but if I pull down here, I have full control of the head of the goat without worrying about actually hurting her. So I can pull her in here and just encourage her a little bit, putting my hand behind her, and she's going to be naughty, and that's okay, but as soon as she realizes there's food in there, she'll be fine. So now I'm just going to go ahead and close the headstock. That little latch is going to serve me there. And you see too that because Milk Dud is a little bit of a shorter goat, this stool is helping raise her up to a more comfortable height. And now I can milk, I can work on her hooves, I can do whatever I want to do.